Welcome, guys, to another episode of Gamers Roundtable. We are the gamers of the Roundtable, or I don't know. Does anybody here actually have a round table? I'm pretty sure we're all sitting at square tables.
No, my living room.
Round table when you were at the pub last time.
Oh, that's true. I was. I need to head back there again. But anyways, we are the gamers of the Roundtable, and we talk about games every week, 7 p.m. EDT. We're a little early today, just because we're only going to talk about our first impressions of E3 thus far. We know there's still more to go, and we're going to cover all of that next week at 7 p.m. EDT, right here on Google+. So make sure you go to Google or YouTube.com/Gamers Roundtable Show so you don't miss out on that, or just +1 us and circle us on the plus of Google's, the Google+. For now, I'm going to go down the line and introduce everybody. Down at the end, we have Charles. Say hello, Charles.
Hello, Charles.
Hello, Charles. Now I heard, Charles, you haven't seen too much of E3 yet, so we're going to get a little bit of what you have seen, but hopefully next week you'll be able to give us some super input, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And next to him, we have Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. See, I didn't fall for that trick again. I didn't tell you to say, hey, Eric. You guys got me once. You got me once. And myself, I'm LeafX, host of the show here, keeping these hooligans in line so they don't get all rowdy and stuff. But let's get into our discussion. Also, we have a Q&A at the side, so if you guys want to join the discussion, feel free to join the Q&A. If you're on YouTube, it's that little link at the bottom left-hand corner, and we'll bring you right to the Google Plus Hangouts. If you're in Google Plus already, you should already have the Q&A at the side there, so feel free to join in and talk with us. But yeah, let's get into E3. E3, so far we've seen the big ones going. We saw Nintendo did their Direct. We saw Microsoft do their conference on day 0, along with EA, Ubisoft, and Sony. So I just want to see what you guys think. Let's start with Microsoft. What did you guys think about Microsoft so far? Impressed, not impressed? What do you think they brought to the table?
Well, I hear Halo 5's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a hilarious YouTube video of the whole Microsoft sort of presentation, but abridged. Abridged
with Matt Lees. To be honest, I missed out on Microsoft presentation. I did watch the abridged, and I saw some of the game trailers from it. And it looks like they had a lot of games. And that's kind of going with my predictions beforehand. And I said they need to bring games, and I think they will. Because what's-his-face said that they're going to have games. So I remember Halo. Yeah, Halo's in there. There's one I saw. It's actually called, it's almost like a Limbo successor. I think it's called Inside or something of the sort, or Outside. I don't know if you guys saw that one. But basically it's a side scroller that kind of has that Limbo feel, but it's a lot more detailed. And you're this kid running through this world. So go check it out. Yeah, I think it's called Inside. And honestly, it kind of blew my mind just for what it was. It looked very emotional and very deep. Like you're going to get a lot out of just the silent side scroller. And they kind of took what Limbo was before and added a 3D element to it. And it's kind of taking that whole genre to the next level. Besides that, I didn't see anything else that I was super impressed with. I mean, Halo, of course. I'm always interested in the next iteration of that series. Eric or Charles, is there anything that you saw that stood out in the Microsoft conference?
I mean, there's individual games, you know, and I mean, honestly, everything is kind of a blur to me, so I don't remember if specific games were released through when Microsoft had their presentation, as opposed to when the actual developers were talking about, you know, their coming out. Because it was weird. This year was different. Like, everything wasn't up on the big stage like it was last year. Everything was kind of like converted to, like, there was like a more intimate feeling where they sat down with the developers and had a little, you know, niche-y interview with them, and then go back to the main stage for the bigger presentations, when last year was like everything was just pretty much on the main stage.
Yeah, and that was the coolest thing is everybody took a different approach, especially Nintendo. You look at what Nintendo did, it was just their Direct, and then they had the live from the show floor, their Treehouse the entire day, talking about the games that they showed at the 40-minute Direct video. And I don't know if you guys did. You guys watch the Nintendo Direct?
Yeah.
You did. And I thought it was honestly. We'll get to it, but I think Nintendo just blew everyone out of the water on this one.
Dude, did you watch the Smash Bros. Competition?
I was to be honest, I was at work and I had it up on the huge projector in one of the party rooms at the side, and I had a bunch of people come in. So people were there drinking some beers, having some food, watching the Invitational go on. So that was pretty fun. Yeah. I had to have it going on because it's as you know I'm ingrained in that community now and I love it, and so I had to see the Invitational. But back to Xbox, I'll run over the exclusives and just give me your thoughts on them. First one up was Forza Horizon 2 for Xbox. Sorry?
Garbage.
Yeah, I can't say garbage because I don't know too much about the series, but I'm not super into realistic racers. Now, isn't Horizon more of kind of amping up away from the realism? Isn't that the idea of Horizon?
Yeah, but the difference with the Forza is supposed to bring in the mechanics of like real world driving simulation mixed with the excitement of, I don't even know what you want to categorize it as, like the hot pursuit. With the different kinds of races and stuff that you can do, and I don't know, man. Like Forza, honestly, is the type of game that would only hold my attention for about an hour, and then I'd be done with it. And
and I'm kind of in the same boat that it's. If I wouldn't, I'm not gonna go out and buy. Well, first off, I don't have an Xbox One, but if I did, I wouldn't go out and buy it. If a friend had it, I'd probably play it with him, but I don't know if that would change my mind. Again, when it comes to racers, I'm pretty picky.
Yeah, I mean their presentation was nice. It's like, ooh, look at the droplets of rain that you can like see on a car now. On the wet car, you can see the. It was pretty impressive, like down to the actual, like you could see the tire shine on the tires as opposed to the the black wall of the tire as opposed to the real tread on the inside of the tire were different colors and you could see the graininess of it. I mean, it was a pretty elaborate in presentation, and the the graphics were stunning. But aside from that, it's another racing game, like.
Well, it's funny because when you talk about water droplets, I remember playing Need for Speed Rivals, and they overdid it because no matter what, the cars were always wet. I don't know how the sun would be out shining, and there was always water droplets on the car, like they're just trying to show off. Mm-hmm. Cars do look a lot sexier when there is water droplets on them, but it was a little overdone. I just thought it just reminded me of that, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, Forza's. I don't know, it's not my thing. Even Gran Turismo, I never got into. I remember playing 3. I think it was back on PlayStation 2, and I remember it being impressive, visually, but it just never really grabbed my attention. It was just too slow. If Need for Speed Underground and Burnout Paradise were probably the last 2 racing games that I full out super enjoyed. Rivals was okay as well because it was fast paced, but I don't like those simulators, to be honest.
Yeah, those go a little bit too in depth.
Okay, Mario Kart DS. I got some ranting to do about Mario Kart 8 as well that we'll touch on later as well once we hit Nintendo.
All right.
But the next exclusive up for Xbox One was Sunset Overdrive, which is made by Insomniac, led by Ted Price, who did, as you know, the Resistance series, and they did not. Sorry, I can never remember. Did they do Jagged Edge or Ratchet and Clank? Wow. I'm
to the Google machine.
Yeah, Google machine.
Yeah, sorry, it's Ratchet and Clank that Insomniac does. I thought so. But I'm actually kind of super stoked. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of like hipsters shooting like records at weird monster things, and it's very colorful and over the top action, but it looks intriguing, to say the least, for myself. I don't know if you guys have seen it at all.
Yeah, I saw it. It looked pretty cool.
Any interest at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably give it a shot, see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna skip over a couple because we have Dance Central. Who cares?
That was.
I think everyone's over Fable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still trying?
Yeah.
Fable Legends. And then here's one that I'm actually super interested in. It's called Project Spark, and they announced it at the last year, and then just nothing came of it. And now they showed it again. Project Spark's the one where you can kind of create a world around you, in like a living, breathing society in the world. As far as I know, you can do it on your tablet as well too. And that one's. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about that, or if you have any thoughts on it. From last year is when they first showed it. Do you guys remember that one at all?
I honestly don't remember that.
Project Spark. I highly recommend. Again, we'll get more into depth next week when we have actually seen more of everything. There's still so many trailers I haven't seen yet. Which is speaking of the next one. It's Ori and the Blind Forest. I didn't see anything on that. I don't know if you guys did.
I must have missed that. I missed that one too, I think.
I'm presumably it's an indie game. But again, there's a lot of good indie games, so we don't want to overpass it. And of course, we have Halo: The Master Chief Collection, which is all of the main series Halos redone and remastered for the Xbox One, which I think is going to be freaking sweet that I can play all these games now once I get my Xbox One connectless, of course. That I'll be able to play these games. Because yeah, and as I said, I missed out actually. I never played Halo 3. That's the one I'm missing from my repertoire. But I've always enjoyed the series, so I'm glad, to be honest, that came out. Didn't they just do a remake last year as well too for Combat Evolved?
Yeah, I believe they did.
No, was that the Xbox or the Xbox One? Or sorry, the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One?
It was probably 360. I don't think that it would have been for the Xbox One.
Okay. Yeah,
That's back when the Xbox One didn't have any games, right?
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's still today. I mean, what do you mean back when?
We're gonna wait till 2015 before any of this is
yeah,
coming up.
2015 is when you're gonna buy your Xbox Ones and your PS4s.
Right.
Exactly. Now, next up, I missed this one as well. Again, we'll cover it next week. But Phantom Dust. I don't know if you saw that, Eric.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Can you kind of explain it for us? I didn't see anything on it.
Hold on, I'm just gonna look at the picture real quick because I was looking at
It's some emo guy on a park bench is what I'm seeing here. I don't know if you remember that at all.
No.
You can't remember it at all.
Oh wait, was this the one that was the reboot of? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this, yeah. Okay. Combo, right? Okay. So this one's kind of like who was the developer? Fudasugi, I guess. Yukio, yeah. So Crimson Dragon was. Remember
Okay, yeah.
Remember Panzer Dragoon?
Yep.
Okay, so same developer and everything like that, and this was a project that I guess he was like working on for. I mean, well, when the hell did those games come out? Like, Panzer Dragoon was like Sega Saturn, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't even know what year that was, but anyway, some game that he's been developing for the past like 14 years.
Yeah, apparently it's a reboot there. I guess I hadn't.
A decade ago, right? And it's a card game pretty much. So, yeah, so it's pretty much like. Well, this was the old build of the game. So the old build, Phantom Dust, right? Okay.
Okay. So CCG.
So the old build, because I remembered like in and out parts of it, you know. So like the old build was the card game, spiritual successor.
Okay. Yeah, it says the CCG action game hybrid Phantom Dust is getting a reboot, and the news broke via CG trailer. The original game was released a decade ago. It allowed players to build decks of cards representing attacks and other moves, which could then be pulled into battles in a post-apocalyptic world.
Right.
Okay, so it's a card game.
Yeah, but I don't remember seeing like the trailer though for it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is kind of like almost like a Final Fantasy style,
Card
like
game.
Final Fantasy Tactics almost, but with
Okay. There you go.
cards, like Hearthstone. Um,
All right.
yeah,
You know what? I'm
it
gonna
looked,
watch the trailer in the next week.
yeah, it looked
That way,
interesting.
I'll know exactly what it is next week when we talk about it. I'm sure that's not going to be for me. I've never really been into, as I said, those turn-based kind of games myself. But we'll see. And also JRPGs. So if it's kind of a mix of both of those, I'm probably out.
Right.
Now, did you see anything on Scalebound? That's the next game.
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, we're going to watch the trailers for it next week and see. And lastly, I'm kind of excited. To be honest, I've never played this next game, but I always have fun watching people playing it on YouTube because it's just a ridiculous game. Crackdown.
Yeah, Crackdown.
Crackdown coming for the Xbox One.
Yeah, people were going mental over that because like the original reason why people bought Crackdown the first time it was released was because it had a Halo beta included in with it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the only reason why people knew what that game was.
Yeah, so it's super funny that it's obviously gotten to where it is now that people are super hyped about it. Obviously, it was a good game. It's just they didn't hype it up at the beginning. People only got it because of the beta.
Right, exactly. But now people
now
are in love with it, and they're like so stoked about this new one that's coming out.
And as I said, I haven't even played it, but it looks super fun. But I always have the best time just watching people mess around on it, doing stupid, trying to get those orbs. Is the favorite thing because those look frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Microsoft, and from what I heard, people said it was slightly boring. It looks like they definitely brought games. That's not the issue at all. I think the issue has to do with a lot of their top guys just aren't, I don't know, personable people, or they just you don't connect with them well. I don't.
You don't connect with them.
Unintentional fun. Yeah, no, I've never been able to. The new, I can't remember his name. The guy that did a lot of the presentation, though. I'm a little okay with him now. It's just I don't know. Their presentations just seem very corporate-y. You know, it sounds like I mean, I guess it's E3. You know, they're shouting out to the industry, but it seems too corporate-y and not something like they're warming up to people. So that's always been my thing with Microsoft things. But they definitely brought games, and that's a good thing. That's a plus for sure. There's definitely a few games on there that I want to play. So moving on through the day, we had EA and Ubisoft coming before Sony. And Ubisoft, well, I guess we'll go to Ubisoft. We saw some more on The Division, which is a super hype game. Are you guys going to be picking up The Division when it comes out in 2015?
No.
I'm going to. I haven't played a Tom Clancy game in years, so I think I'm definitely going to give that one a try.
Tom Clancy game? Oh, no thanks.
Yeah, it's a Rainbow Six.
Okay, well, speaking of, another Tom Clancy game, we got Rainbow Six The Siege also coming out, which it looks super freaking sweet. It's almost like you're doing heist, but just with four other players on a building, and on the inside are five other players that have a hostage. It's almost along Counter-Strike lines where you have to break in, get the hostage back, and leave. Now, it's kind of cool because the guys on the inside can build up barricades, they can set traps and stuff for you, and as the SWAT team going in, you have to send in little drones to try to find them, scope them out. It's really cool because the houses are completely destructible. You can put down a piece of C4 on the floor and break through the ceiling onto the next floor to drop down on your enemies. And it's really tactical and it looks super fun, like a straight up what Rainbow Six should be. So I'm actually kind of stoked for that. It's Melanie at the side says, "Shame on you guys, laugh aloud. Tom Clancy rules." I'm gonna have to agree with her. R.I.P. Tom Clancy. But yeah, I'm super stoked that we've got 2 Clancy games coming out now in development at the same time. That doesn't seem to happen too often that we're getting multiple Clancy games.
I mean, that's why I'm super excited for it too.
I guess I'll have to try them again. Back in the day, like high school video gaming, actually before high school video gaming, yeah, Rainbow Six, where I didn't understand tactical shooters and I would just die all the time.
That's the thing is when I was younger too, first getting into Rainbow Six. Well, actually, you know what? I played a lot of tactical. You know, I started with SOCOM as one of my besides Halo. I started with SOCOM as one of my first real online experiences. So that was, fairly tactical, having to voice control your teammates around, and then getting into Rainbow Six as well. Me and my brother played it a lot, so it's something familiar to me. But I can totally understand how you didn't like it as a kid, because if you're just thinking you can go out and run and gun, you're gonna get messed up.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So the tactical shooter, there's definitely a different type of shooter for sure. But I like it, and that's why I'm really excited for Rainbow Six. And then we also again have the Division, which I'm super stoked about. I think that's going to be one of the main games I get on PC, because I think a lot of my friends are getting it, and I think we should team up if you guys are getting it as well too.
Yeah, why not, dude? Let me just intervene here. Like, playing Evolve with like 4 of us is going to be so disgustingly awesome. I don't know if you guys watched like the live play of that game.
Oh, Rainbow Six? Yes, I did.
No.
Oh,
Evolve.
Evolve. No, sorry, I haven't even seen anything about Evolve yet.
Oh my god, dude.
I'm hearing good things.
Yeah, it looks insane.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and people keep saying good things. I need to check out the trailer, and again, we'll touch on it again next year. Next week. Yeah, next year. You guys don't get into conversation about this E3 until next year. Next week when I actually see this one, because you keep telling me. I think you need to link me the live play one if you can.
Yeah, I'll find it right now.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We'll talk about this more in depth next week for sure.
Yeah, we're just kind of touching on the things that we've seen, obviously, thus far. And another one.
Asking about Assassin's Creed.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting there. So another one is The Crew was the next one that I'm still kind of stoked for. That's a racing game that I might actually get into. I didn't actually see the trailer for it at E3, so. I want to check that out in case there's anything I don't like in it, but we'll have to see. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, of course. Ali's saying outside, is there any news about second AC title for PS3? I heard that yes, there are 2 Assassin's Creed titles. Are there not?
Well, there's Unity, and I don't know what the other one is called.
Yeah, I thought there was supposed to be another one. Well, I know Liberation HD is out, but 2 new Assassin's Creed's game in 1 year. I know one was Vita, was it not?
I'm looking at the Assassin's Creed website.
Possibly.
There's Assassin's Creed Unity, Black Flag, Freedom Cry, Liberation HD, and I'm pretty sure everything else is much older than that. But I don't see anything else on their site, at least.
Yeah, there's nothing. I guess they have a code name for the games called Comet, but
Comet.
Yes, but we haven't seen anything on it yet, unless we just suck at our research. But so far, I don't see anything besides Unity, which is obviously looking phenomenal. 4 Assassins. My buddy's already like, we're teaming up, right? I'm like, hell yeah, we are. 4 Assassins to be able to play together in Assassin's Creed Unity, hence the name Unity. But it's going to be set in the French Revolution, which is going to be a sick storyline, I see. Yeah. I really want them to jump forward in time to, hit maybe like World War I or something like that. I think that would be freaking sweet.
That would be epic, dude. Yeah, World War One. Maybe like the Korean War, something a little obscure.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would be something cool, a little more modern. But again, nothing wrong with doing it in the French Revolution, because I think it's I think that's going to be a sick story. But yeah, so I'm continuing my research here, and it just looks like they said they're going to, Ali, they're going to continue supporting the last gen systems, but so far all we've heard, is that we have Assassin's Creed Comet is the code name for it, but we have it's a direct sequel apparently to Black Flag, letting players sail the Atlantic coast of North America and encounter characters from Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 3. So that's just what we've seen so far, but besides that, there's no new news. I'm sure, again, this is day 2. We have day 3 tomorrow as well to wrap things up for E3. So we could see something in the next little bit. Maybe something's happening even right now as we speak about that. We're looking at the top side here. Annie says, I'm half expecting them to talk about Amnesia or Heavy Rain. Who, us or at E3?
That's a good question. Amnesia is relatively old, and Heavy Rain was, what, 2 years ago?
Oh, I think she's talking about us because she says, I'm bored, so I came on here. Is that weird? No, Annie, that isn't weird. Feel free to continue talking with us about games, but we're talking about our E3 impressions so far, and Amnesia and that's a slightly older. That wasn't announced this year. Unless I missed something, we got a new one again. But yeah, Ali says second was, I think, AC Comet also coming up, but it was never at E3 2013. Yeah, so far, Ali, it's not. But hopefully we'll see something in the next 2 days or a day and a half while E3 is ending to get more info. But that's all we have so far on that. But next up, what else did Ubisoft have there? Again, I only caught the second half because once again I was at work.
Are they going to make you play usable?
Sorry?
Did they announce that they'll make you play usable? That's something I'd be interested in.
Play usable?
Yeah, like actually being able to use Uplay.
Oh, Uplay. I didn't even hear what you said. I have no issues with Uplay. I don't get people. Like, I was playing Watch Dogs, and Uplay just came up and says, oh, you unlock this thing, and so I can go unlock extra stuff. No flaws to the system, no lag whatsoever. I don't really get it. But yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Melanie has a bit on the piece there. She says, I think it's a good move from Ubisoft to come back in time like this because most gamers were sold by Ezio's AC and not sure about the 2 last ones. And I think Melanie's spot on with that. Is Assassin's Creed, my favorite game so far in the series is still Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio Auditore.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was so memorable and such a great character. I mean, like she's totally right. Like that's definitely what sold.
Yeah, no, it's and Sarah at the size, not another Uplay rant.
Yeah,
rant,
no,
please.
No.
Sorry, Sarah.
But yeah, Ubisoft. I don't know what other memorable titles that they
Far Cry 4. I mean, what? You don't need to
yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, Far Cry 4.
You don't need to.
Right. This is Eric's thing. He could not let this go by. He
will not shut up about it.
All we hear through our chat throughout the week is Far Cry 4. And once again, I missed I saw some gameplay of it, and I saw your awesome elephants tearing through the villages there. But I didn't see. I heard the villain was pretty freaking awesome once again.
Dude, he looks like almost as friggin' crazy as what's his name? What the hell is the Spanish guy?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you know who I'm talking.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he was a crazy villain. But yeah, dude, fucking armorized elephants.
Armorized elephants. And sorry, just in case we interrupt you there, Eric, we have someone joining us again with a crackly microphone, it sounds like. We have Shane Lewis from Re-Res TV joining us, freaking out now about his microphone. So we'll let him figure out his stuff there. But then he'll be joining us in our discussion about our E3 impressions so far. Okay, he's figured it out. So Eric, continue on about your
Yeah, no, I
your
mean,
Far Cry is.
dude, it's just so visually stunning, like the cinematic that they put together for the game, and they give you just enough of the villain to really I mean, he like knifes out a guy in the first 30 seconds. The guy is bleeding out. He's taking selfies with him and stuff. Like, the guy's definitely. I mean, they always do a great job, especially with Far Cry 3 too, of like having a captivating villain, and I think that's really a super important part to making an intriguing game, especially a game that's has an awesome multiplayer, but the single player mode is so good, and that's part of it, is having that captivating villain that's going to keep you intrigued, Hopefully
Well,
the ending of Far Cry 4 is a little bit better than Far Cry 3, because I thought they kind of, pussed out with that, but but yeah, just so captivating, and like, there's something like 200 different animals now, like roaming about, like where you're going to be out in the wilderness. The map is pretty much like double the size of Far Cry 3, and Far Cry 3 map, their map was big. You could go shark. There was shark hunting.
That's the great thing about Far Cry is such a good single player. I really never played the multiplayer. It was just such a good single player experience.
Dude, oh my God, it was fantastic. And that's seriously that game. And I mean, aside from Smash Bros. And a couple other small ones, like, that game won E3 for me, honestly.
Okay, well, that kind of goes into Ali's question here. He says, which game you guys think from this E3 is going to rule in next gen? What's going to take over? Well, obviously, I got my bias. I think Uncharted is going to be one of those titles. But Far Cry for sure is going to be one of those. I just hope they don't do that, yearly Far Cry release thing, as they're doing with Assassin's Creed. Right now it's on a bi-yearly, right? So we'll hopefully that they won't start pushing the
I don't think they will,
IP like that.
There was a big gap between Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 3. So I think they really took that time to kind of hone in on a lot of the changes that needed to be made with the game. And they did that. And there's actually a lot of people that like Far Cry 2 better than Far Cry 3. It's kind of the same platform with Dead Rising almost.
Yeah, they're crazy. We don't listen to those people.
No, we don't. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I really do.
Yeah. Now, if Shane, you just want to say hi to get the listeners your voice in here. Hello, Shane.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh
yes, we can, and it's so good to hear it. It's been a while since we've heard your voice, Shane. Everybody say hello to Shane from Rerez TV there. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're just kind of going over our thoughts. We're going to do a more in-depth discussion next week. We're just going over our initial thoughts so far on E3 and what we've seen. We've made our way past Microsoft into Ubisoft, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of, we're on day 0 right now, a couple of EA's things, and then Sony and Nintendo at the end. Save the best for last at this conference so far. So just at the side there, Melanie actually says, for Ubi's lineup, surprised we didn't get some kind of teaser for an eventual Splinter Cell or Ghost Recon. The thing is, tomorrow, or sorry, maybe it's today, I may have missed it, on Twitch. Twitch actually has a slot for Ubisoft that says unannounced titles, so there is something still coming from Ubisoft, which could be the Assassin's Creed Comet that we haven't seen yet, or it could be any of these other games. It could be something completely different. I don't know if anybody has any predictions on what that could be.
It might be women in Assassin's Creed now. Ah!
Hey, it was Liberation, I think it was, wasn't it? That had
yes.
a woman lead. Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God, there's been so many women in Assassin's Creed. I just hearing everybody complain about it. Oh, there's no women in this one. It's like, seriously, guys, this is like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that big of a deal. There's women in games all over the place. Just because one Assassin's Creed game tends to focus on a male doesn't mean they've never done before. Liberation, is what I'm to understand, was a fantastic game. One of the only Assassin's Creeds I haven't played just because it was on the Vita, and I haven't picked it up on PC yet, but I'm going to because I'm really excited. Plus,
yeah,
I'm actually sure. I think Liberation is not only a woman, but it's a black woman. Like, they're just doubling up on the minorities.
Double up. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a black woman, and I've heard good things about it. I have a Vita, and I haven't picked it up yet. My backlog's getting slightly big on that. on the Vita even, just because of the games I've been playing on the PS4. There's too many freaking video games. Too many games.
I was just going to say, how big is everyone's backlog? Mine's about 5,000 games.
I'm about 4,000 in at this point. Yeah, we're hitting a lot. And Annie at the side says, I feel like I'm ruining your guys' swagalicious mood right now by saying whatever pops in my head. Annie, no, that's exactly what we're doing, is saying the first things that pop in our head right now. So our swagalicious mood is continuing on, and you're helping us out, so thanks.
I like that. I like that word.
Swagalicious.
Yeah,
That is a good word. I think we need to brand a type of bubble gum or something called Swagalicious. Don't take it,
man.
Don't take it. That's copyrighted. So on to EA then. Oh, sorry, Valiant. In case anybody cares, Valiant Hearts: The Great War is another Ubisoft game that got announced. Looks like it's going to be very heartfelt. It's a game based off of letters received from veterans in World War I, veterans, people on the battlefield in World War I. So the story will be based off of those. So it's going to be a very, very heartfelt game. So if you don't want to cry, I wouldn't suggest picking that one up. But that was the last one that they did. And surprisingly, nothing for Nintendo platforms, which is weird because Ubisoft is usually first on those for making stuff for Nintendo platforms. So it's kind of strange seeing that. But yeah, on to EA, first and foremost, we got Hardline, Battlefield Hardline. And as first person who's not usually into Battlefield games, Hardline is actually catching my attention. Cops and robbers, grappling hooks, where can you go wrong?
I've actually played it.
You have played it. All right, well,
Yeah.
we got an insider here. You got the because you can get for on the PS4, I know at least you could get the beta. It opened for a little bit, but I think it's closed now.
Well, I got the PC the PC beta, and I've been playing that. I literally was playing it for about a couple of hours today. Yesterday I was playing it with one of my friends, and we were just going nuts, just trying it out. And honest to God, okay, it's fun. It is fun, but it's hectic. Like, there's this one area. Every match I played, it always seems to happen. There's this like forklift that falls over and smacks a building, and as the forklift is falling, this is your camera. Oh my God! I can't focus on anything. Ah! And that's exactly what happens the entire time, and you can't stop it. And you're trying to shoot at things, but you're like, and it the whole time, man. It does that for like a good, I'm gonna say like 30 or 40 seconds. And at the end of that 30 or 40 seconds, I'm looking for the option to stop the shake. Like, I've been playing a lot of first-person shooters this past year. Titanfall, really good example of a very, very good game right now. But I feel that this Battlefield game, it's too loose. Like, all the other first-person shooters I've played, like Call of Duty and Titanfall and a bunch of other ones, they have this very good, precise way of the control feels like really stiff, and it feels like you have a lot of really good hold over the character. So when they're like running or moving, you have like perfect control. But with Battlefield, it's like everything is just wavy and free form, and it feels like there's a lot of weight and momentum. You don't feel like you have a lot of control over what's going on, and I really don't like that. And I'm surprised that since Battlefield 3, the game, like the actual feel of the characters, has not changed. It's the same issue I have with all those games where it feels very weighted.
I noticed, even since Bad Company I find is when it first kind of started that they're going for the hyper realism, you know, where you can see your character moving his gun around, and I get what you're saying. It's almost floaty in a sense, instead of tight. But yeah, that's why I've never been a super fan. It's just the thing that's pulled me in is cops and robbers and grappling hooks.
Yeah. And which, by the way, they work great. They're really fun. Just going up in an elevator and like heading out with a bunch of people up there, and you're just firing down at people. I mean, everything just works really, really well. Driving the vehicles works well. Everything does what it's supposed to, and there's a lot of fun to be had there. It's chaotic, dude. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Watch
Battlefield. What do you expect?
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I feel like there's a lot of control with a good team when they're playing something, but generally when you're just playing with a bunch of random people on a beta server, it's like everyone's just like, oh,
Yeah.
Ah! It's like firing guns in the air. And there's so many things you can do.
Well, they're just getting their testosterone out from the game.
Oh,
being
yeah,
better, right?
yeah. And they're doing a pretty fantastic job. It feels like a Battlefield game. It feels very hectic. If you like Battlefield 3, if you like Battlefield 4, you're going to absolutely love this game. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It actually does a lot of callbacks to Battlefield 2 Insurgency, I think is what it was called. It was like this tiny mod that they released. Not a mod. There was an official pack where you got in, like, trucks and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. But it's sort of like that.
Yeah, because Ali at the size, do you guys think that Battlefield Hardline isn't as good as BF4 or BF3? I don't know your thoughts on that.
I didn't really care for Battlefield 4, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're adding a grappling hook to basic Battlefield 3 or 4. It's obviously going to be better, right?
It's obviously already a notch above what it was before.
I'll say this. What I was playing was a beta. Let's make no excuses about this.
Can't make any final judgments.
But seriously, it was very well presented. There were very few glitches. There was a couple here and there, but nothing game breaking. The servers ran. I mean, I've never had a problem joining a server. It's amazing. Like for a beta, I was expecting 1,001 problems, but this one really doesn't seem to have anything like that. It feels very much like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. It's the same kind of game. If you like those games, you're gonna love this. There's no question. I mean, this is just, think of it as like a modification with an extra story and stuff. That's pretty much what they're going for here, and it really delivers on that promise. So if you're a fan of those games, you're gonna love this one.
Mm-hmm. And then, sorry, I had something. Okay, that's perfect because I'm kind of excited for it. So we'll see if they do an open beta. I'm sure they will. Melanie at the side just says, "Have you guys seen the new Tomb Raider trailer?" So I guess Square Enix is going to be doing another Tomb Raider. They're going to go ahead because they pulled in a hell of a lot of money from the definitive edition on the Xbone and PS4. They got 30 million over their mark. So they've been green-lighted to do another one. I didn't actually see the trailer yet. I just know there is another one. I don't know if you guys caught a glimpse of that at all, the next Tomb Raider? Nobody?
No, I actually did not.
Yeah.
I did not see the showing for that.
Shane, any thoughts? Does it look like it's picking up in a good pace from the last one? Because I enjoyed the reboot. From last year or the year before, sorry. So I'm kind of looking forward to this if it's looking any good. I don't know your thoughts on it.
Well, I saw the trailer. I didn't see any gameplay, but I don't think they were showing any.
Oh, so it was just a CG trailer.
Yeah, I mean they may have shown gameplay, but I haven't seen it. But what I did see, I was really impressed with. I mean, they seem to be doing a good job at just kind of continuing the story that they started with that other Tomb Raider, which is, she's younger. Now you're going to see her. You see that in the first game that the first game that they did the reboot on, they're showing the character begin, and now they're showing the character become a Tomb Raider. So this is going to be where the evolution goes, kind of like Indiana Jones finds his whip kind of deal. I think that's what they're going for with this.
Yeah,
game.
and I think that's why I wasn't a super. When I first started playing the first iteration of the reboot there, I didn't enjoy it as much because the character felt really flat. But it was because they were building into a Tomb Raider, and by the end of the game, I felt like Lara Croft had a lot more character to her, from what she had been through and the shit she's seen, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited because everyone seemed to really enjoy that last Tomb Raider game. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise because they were expecting it to be kind of another simple one like they had done the past couple of adventures.
Exactly, it caught people off guard, and again, that's why with Definitive Edition, it put them way past their mark. So it's good to see another one coming out, and hopefully we see some gameplay soon. Annie at the side says, "How come you guys don't have anything in the background I can laugh at?" I'm sorry, I think I have my big black dildo blurred out back there, but
I moved my bike before the podcast.
I got something in the background you can laugh at. This is an Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I had one in my house not too long ago.
This is the same one. This is the exact same one.
Did you grab it from Steven over at Games Exchange?
Yes, I did. And you know what else I got too? This is a bag of candied ginger. I'm going to have to chew this while I'm playing the game because I have rift sickness, which is apparently something that they didn't explain to me while picking the damn thing up.
Motion sickness.
Yes.
Yeah. I experienced. Here's the thing: is I never have experienced motion sickness in my life before until using the Rift, and it was only minuscule. I only experienced it for. I took it off 10 minutes later. I was fine. I never got it again. I got used to the sensation, but it's definitely throws your body for a loop.
Oh yeah. I'm so surprised we actually didn't really see anything from the Oculus guys at E3. Sony announced was showing more of the Morpheus stuff off, which is their headset display.
They didn't show anything at their conference.
No, not in the conference, but like on the actual floor.
Oh, on the floor, yeah.
Because they're showing off like 3 or 4 games, but I'm telling you, if I'm gonna have like a video on this because I really want to do one, but I'm being serious. I like what they're going for, but it doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
I played Half-Life 2. And when Half-Life 2 has a loading screen, your sequence just locks up, right? Like the scene just freezes.
Right.
So imagine everything's all moving, and then suddenly it just goes. But your head's still moving.
The thing is, it's all about the game implementing it. Play Minecraft. Honestly, your mind will be.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do next.
Okay.
That's the next one to do. Your mind will explode from the amazingness. You know how you can play Minecraft and lose hours and hours into it? Triple that because of this. The immersion just triples, and you just I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play an hour of Minecraft. Like I want to play half hour, but I'm like, I know it's gonna be an hour. I ended up pulling it off and looking at the clock, and it had been like 3.5 hours later. You just completely lose yourself in the world. You're gonna have fun with that for sure. I'm gonna send you some links to some demos and stuff after then too, or let you know some good ones to hit up because I did a lot of research when I had that over here. Back on topic then. EA, do we? What else did EA show us of importance? Did we see a Battlefront? Because I missed their entire thing. Did we see anything on Battlefront?
I don't think I recalled anything that they were showing off there.
Yeah, I can't. I can't think of anything else right now, just because I didn't see their conference. But if there is anything, we'll touch on it next week when we do the full coverage of all the games and all the cool things. But later on that night, on day 0, we hit Sony's conference, and that one I actually got to watch because I was at work and I'm good at slacking. So I pulled it up on my new Chromebook and just sat there and watched it. And we saw a couple sweet games, but I think it was game-wise it was a little less lacking. But they had the Microsoft, but they had some other cool announcements. So we'll go over the games first. We had Shadowfall Intercept. It's the online co-op. I'm not interested in Killzone myself anymore. I think it stopped being good after Killzone 2. I don't know if anyone follows the same sentiment as that. But up after that, we had the Order. Of course, we know that's been delayed up to 2015, just like every other freaking game announced.
I don't think I was too impressed with the Order. Refresh my memory as to what, because I know that was their big title, but
the Order 1886 is kind of like a steampunk, yeah.
With the werewolves, right? Yeah.
Steampunk, yeah, medieval, or sorry, yeah, like 1800s kind of.
Yeah, not into that. Sorry.
I want to be, but I just until I see maybe more of on the story, I just can't. I know I have a couple friends that are super stoked, but for me, it's just not catching my eye. Next up, we had Entwined was a good exclusive. Entwined is this game that uses both analog sticks. It's kind of unique, actually. You have to control 2 analog sticks. Each analog stick controls a different fairy, I think they are, and you have to follow patterns on this tube-shaped thing while you're going this tube level. And at the end, you have to combine and turn into a giant dragon. But it looks pretty unique. If you guys search up Entwined, Entwiined, it looks pretty fun and looks like it's going to be very difficult because you're controlling 2 different characters with each analog stick. So that's going to be it's going to be tough. They talked a little bit about Infamous First Light, which is kind of expanding on Second Son's characters. What's her face? I can never remember her name. The Neon Girl. So that's going to be fun, because Infamous Second Son was a phenomenal game for me. I love that game. And one that my girlfriend's super stoked about, and when I saw it, I'm like, super awesome. that they're bringing in new characters to refresh the series. But Little Big Planet 3 is got announced, and there's new characters. We got Swoop is a bird that can fly around. We got Toggle. He can grow big or grow small to change his weight. And then we got obviously Sackboy, and then Oddsock, which is this dog thing that can wall jump. So I think it's awesome that they're pulling in new characters to refresh the series, because the game's fun, but after a million of user-created levels, it starts to get tiring and tedious. But it's great that they're refreshing the series like that.
Yeah.
And next, we had something originally got leaked as Project Beast, but got shown a CG, or I presume a CG trailer. I think it was actually all in game, but Bloodborne. Now, I don't know if anybody saw it. Bloodborne as looking pretty freaking pretty.
Yeah.
If you ask me. Now, I don't think we saw any gameplay on it. I think that was in-engine, as far as I know, and I remember the developers toting beautiful graphics. They're flat out themselves saying, yeah, we got some good-looking graphics going on here.
Right.
But I'm excited to see more on that because it's looking pretty sweet. I don't know if we're going to end up with another Dark Souls-esque game, because that seems to be what a lot of games are going for now. We've got Deep Down as another one. It's going to be a free-to-play PS4 game. This is going to be a Dark Souls-esque. Next one, I didn't see any trail on this. I don't know if you guys had Let It Die was another exclusive for Sony at their conference.
Yep, I believe I did see Let It Die.
Can you just run us over what that was?
Wait, hold on. Let me look it up, because like I said, let me just look at the pictures.
It looks like the thing is a skateboarding death with his scythe there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But while you look that up, I'm going to talk about one that I got super stoked for. It's called Abzu, and it's by one of the guys from that game company. The guys that made Flow, Flower, and Journey. He went off to start his own company with some other developers, and their first game coming out is called Abzu. And I am super stoked about this game. It's got that same atmospheric, emotional feeling as that game company's games always have. I really think you guys need to check it out. ABZU, and it's basically it's like this underwater world that fully immerses you in this other life that happens underneath the sea. It's completely emotional and atmospheric, and that's why that game company's games have always been super freaking phenomenal to me, because they don't just make emotions happen, they make games based on emotions.
Yeah, I saw that presentation as well, and everybody I remember when I was watching on Twitch were like, wow, like Nintendo 64 graphics, cool. Like the visuals didn't really look that impressive.
For Abzu or Let It Die?
For Abzu.
Abzu, really? You think? I thought it was very stylistic.
No, I mean, like, the presentation, like how they kind of did the isolation with the whales, and like I forget what else was swimming. Like a great white shark kind of like swam up behind the guy. I don't know. The graphics just didn't really look that appealing to me. I mean, maybe I have to go back and rewatch it, but I know at the time, like, and I know the response on Twitch was also very not impressed with.
Maybe it was just the Twitch stream at the time looking choppy, because I thought it looked phenomenal, and it was kind of continuing in the spirit of what that game company has done before them.
Yeah, I don't know. But the Let It Die game, I just looked at the pictures and stuff. That was that's like a really weird. Do you remember the game like Hexen back in the day by chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it reminded me a lot of that in terms of like the dirty dungeon-esque, almost like a Doom style platform, but built into like a Unreal tournament. I don't know. It's like these dudes that like customize like they showed a little bit of weapon customization, and almost like a I don't know what you wanted to. Okay, so you remember how in Dead Island, where the hell is Brody going?
Well, I'm here. I'm just stretching.
Oh, so okay. So you remember how in Dead Island, like when you would, attack someone, there was like a small amount of of damage that would be taken, and that would kind of like roll off the character, and you would see the number, like the numeric denomination of the damage that your guy was taking, or the zombie.
RPG attacking methods, yeah, yeah.
Right, so that's built into the game, and it looked like a lot of the weaponry was actually similar to that of Dead Island. There was like spiked baseball bats and a couple other unusual, like a morning star and a couple other weird things. And it was pretty much just like a huge battle of like all these guys with these makeshift weapons. So I don't really know what you want to take from it. I would suggest, I guess, everybody goes and takes a look at the trailer to see.
That's exactly what I saw, and I was kind of curious about it because when I saw it, I was like, hey, this is going to be neat because it's Suda51. But when I was looking at it, I was just like, this looks. I'm trying to say this to not be offensive to anyone.
Right.
This looks super American game produced, does it not? This looks like something that you'd see from like Rockstar or something like that.
Right.
When I was watching it, I was just kind of a little bit taken back. Like this looks like a cool game, but I'm not getting what the idea is here, because if it's just a bunch of people running around beating each other up,
That's really all I think it is. I think it's a game that like I'm gonna play for 10 minutes and be like, okay, well that was like really a waste of time. And that's exactly what it looked like to me. I got nothing else out of that trailer other than it's a bunch of guys with weapons beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Suda51 to a point. There's a lot of people out there that just go crazy watching his stuff and playing his games, but I like what he does. There's a lot of really neat ideas and concepts he rolls into his games, but the biggest problem is, oh dear God, he'll go nuts. Like, he will just take whatever limit most game developers have, and he'll just go that extra step and just throw weird things in the game that probably don't fit, but he's just honestly thinking, hey, I like wrestling, and I like going to the bathroom. Save system. You know what I mean? Like, he'll just throw weird things in his games, but it's fun. It's an original type of game. He's like the gaming version of David Lynch, if you want to go with that kind of concept.
Like Blue Velvet, yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you guys don't know David Lynch is a filmmaker that just exists. And when this guy makes games, he does pretty much the same idea. He just goes nuts, does whatever the heck he wants to do, and usually it has a purpose, but sometimes it doesn't. So it's interesting. I'm thinking the game's going to be neat, whatever it is, but if it's a really gory, horrific, deathmatch type game with what looks like to be, you're very right, it looks like there's RPG mechanics in there. If they're going for something like that, what is he going to do that's going to make it more interesting than everybody else? That's what I'm really looking forward to. It seemed to be a little lighthearted at the end there, because they had this, like, I don't know, death kind of rolled up on a skateboard on the logo.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was neat, but it's like, cool. What else you got?
There were sniping elements, and it would show the level of the person, next to their name. So obviously there's, like, I guess some kind of leveling up system. But I just have a weird feeling that it's probably some kind of dungeony drop-in, you get placed with all the people to similar levels as you. You have your own weapon crafting system, and you just hide and beat the crap out of each other,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
All right, and I'm sorry. And then last on for games, we had obviously the Last of Us remastered, which I was wanting to pick up, but I don't know if I will now, just because it doesn't look that insanely different. I feel like Naughty Dog did such a good job of the game on last gen, making it look phenomenal, that they really couldn't add much more to it for this gen without rebuilding a completely new game. So the only good thing is that it comes with the extra DLC that I haven't yet picked up and I want to yet. So it's the only reason I might get it. But otherwise, on Sony's conference, we had a couple other cool things. One being The PlayStation Vita TV is going to be coming to North America for $99, and it will have access to PlayStation Now, which is also going to be releasing open beta on July 31st, which is their streaming service. It's what Gaikai used to be called, and it's kind of like what OnLive always was. So video game streaming service is going to be open beta July 31st, but that means the PlayStation Vita TV is going to launch with over 1,000 titles already in its library, because it now has access also to PlayStation 1 games, PSP games, PS Vita games, and some PS3 games. And for $99, I don't think you can go wrong. You get a little box you can plug into any HD TV and play games on, like full-out games.
Yeah.
Vita games, PS3 games, and I think that's going to be a phenomenal seller for them. I'm going to pick one up. I don't have much use for it at the moment because I have all the aforementioned systems, but I maybe used to go to a friend's house and I say, hey, let's play this game. I can bring it to their house and we can play it, right? It'll be cool if you're living with someone, you can put it in another room, have it link up remote play with your PS4, and if they want to take over the main screen, you can just go to your room and still play your PS4, but through the Vita TV. So that's sweet. $99. They're not changing the price at all for it. The other thing was, PlayStation Now going to be coming out, and there was something else. I'm surprised they didn't announce more at their conference about Project Morpheus. But as Shane said, I guess they have some stuff on the demo floor. But it would be nice to see some more stuff in their plans with it. If we were going to be seeing a price point, a launch date, what kind of stuff with that? It just means they're obviously not ready anytime soon for that.
It feels like they were doing it more to take the wind out of the sails of the Oculus Rift and to be the only game developer, or the only console developer out there that actually has some kind of plan in place to support VR on their own terms. I don't know how successful it's going to be, because just judging off of how the Oculus Rift guys are struggling to do the basic things, I don't know what Sony thinks they can bring to the table to make it a little bit better. Because don't forget, Morpheus isn't a new idea for them. They've actually had VR goggles in the past, several actually.
Well, yeah, and they've been working on this one for over 4 years now.
Yeah, like everybody's saying, oh, you're just stealing the Oculus Rift idea. Well, no, see, they did it way before Oculus Rift. They were one of the first companies out there actually producing like goggle-mounted displays for like visuals and stuff. In fact, if you really want to take a look at a project that kind of copied or what the Oculus Rift is really inspired by, go take a look at go take a look out for a company called I think it's called Virtuosity or Virtuality or something like that. They had like a weird name. They were an arcade company that used to make head-mounted displays and like these little rings that you get in and then you'd like shoot at things that were coming at you and stuff. They did that back in the 90s, and I think that's where a lot of the influence from this comes from. So
I think some of that stuff was way ahead of its time, but now it's finally coming to fruition that it's becoming possible. I know there's some things that Oculus couldn't do before because of the money factor, but now we look at Facebook buying them out, and we look at the fact that Samsung's sparking a deal with them now. That money is not really going to be an issue for Oculus. I know some of the issues, that screen door kind of thing. They're going to layer two screens across each other. One being high def, one being low res, and that's going to blur the line, so you're not looking. It doesn't look like you're looking at a screen anymore. It will look like you're just looking at something.
Yeah.
So I know that's one of the issues they're looking at. Obviously, having a higher resolution screen is going to fix a lot of issues. Having up to a 4K screen eventually in there, but that's time ahead. And I just wish. I think I just have my fingers crossed because I'm excited for the technology that Sony would have had something more out there for it. I know the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, they actually displayed something with it too. Channing Tatum was on there, and Fallon both jumped into a headset themselves with the Move and demonstrated it, and it looked like it looked freaking sweet. So I just want to see more on it because I'm super stoked myself on it, on what they have to show. And what else then did Sony have? I really thought there was something else there that they demonstrated or announced. If not, I'll remember for next week for the full
they did show Uncharted.
Oh yeah, crap. Uncharted. In case you guys I think it's because I mentioned before that I forgot about.
Yeah, that's why I said it's all a blur, really. Like you think about the systems, but the games kind of get blurry, you know. Like
what I need you guys to do is go and watch, if you haven't already, the Uncharted trailer. Just search Uncharted 4 2014 E3 trailer. Click on the one that's posted by Sony because it's a higher def than the guy that ripped it, and watch it because it is phenomenal. Apparently, those are in-engine graphics, according to other sources that have seen it and played it as well. Those are in-engine graphics, and it blows my frickin' mind. I mean, I should have expected it because it's Naughty Dog, and they do magical things with hardware and their software. But it blows my mind what it looks like when you see Drake just lying in the sand, and you can see every individual whisker on his face. But according to this, and what it looks like is this is going to be the last Uncharted game that they're going to make. And I'm anticipating a death of Nathan Drake at the end of it. You know, the story ends with the hero kind of sentiment. But it is looking phenomenal. Go check it out if you haven't already. Holy crap, super awesome. Before we move on a bit onto anything else, we got a couple questions piling up at the side here, so I'm just going to roll through them quick. Looks like we have ourselves a fan. I think she's talking about all of us, but I can't help but notice your adorableness. That's definitely towards all of us. She says, "Sorry, I'm a Virgo. I was made to flirt." We are some adorable dudes. I'm gonna have to admit it myself. And down at the bottom here, we'll go to Melanie. Says, "By the way, LeafX, since you're also excited about the R6 game, don't miss Ubisoft's live stream at 9:30 EST tonight. It'll be all R6. What's EST? That's us. EDT. Yes. So 9:30 tonight. So that's in about an hour and a half's time. I'm definitely going to be jumping on. Is that now, Melanie? If you can let me know, is that on Twitch or is that on their own stream? If you just want to put it in the side there and let me know, because I do want to see that, because I'm stoked to see some more about that. Let's see what else we got.
Do we want to talk about The Witcher 3 at all? I mean,
I didn't see it at all myself, but I did watch Matt Lee's Microsoft Abridged thing, and I remember his quote. I paraphrased. He said something along the lines of, "It's Witcher 3. Skyrim can suck my balls." Something along the lines of that. And from what I've seen, I think Matt Lee's is entirely correct on that statement right there. But did you see any stuff on that, Eric? Then
The Witcher 3 looks absolutely crazy. What they showed was just they showed no real crazy in-game footage other than a new aspect of like these smaller monster hunts that they kind of like built into the game. Like the environment is awesome. The graphics, graphically, the environment, like running through the trees and having little branches hit you and snap off, you know, as you're like running through the woods, is really crazy. And like they were chasing down a griffin. And I mean, the thing was pretty monstrous, you know.
Yeah, I think their thing is to have big monsters, right?
Yeah, I mean, you had to like cut its head off and bring it back to this village to prove that you like, you know, killed it or whatever. But it looked really fun and really, you know, pretty much what The Witcher has been up to this point. But you know, all of their graphics and, you know, capabilities are obviously upped with the new next gen system, and it looks like they did a really good job with it. So I'm pretty excited to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was it. If you didn't see it, just watch the trailer. I think it was only like a 4-minute, you know, video that they put out with the hunt.
It looked cool though. They were showing a lot of really neat features that the character had, and a lot of really neat gameplay aspects.
Yeah, there's like a special sword now too for slaying like monsters, like a silver sword of some form.
Didn't they always have the silver sword?
Did they?
Yeah, they had a silver sword and a regular sword. The regular sword was for killing humans. The silver sword was for killing monsters.
Oh right, yeah.
It's part of what made The Witcher's combat so complicated, because you had to select the correct sword for the thing that you're fighting. You have to select the select the correct fighting style, like if you're fighting heavy fighting or fast fighting or AoE attacks, stuff like that, where you had to basically select which mode you were going to do your damage in.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to see some more. I'm gonna again over the next week. I have a lot of trailers. I still need to check out. Actually, I missed Dying Light. They had a thing on Twitch there, and that's a game I am freaking stoked for. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's like kind of like Mirror's Edge meets Dead Island.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine parkour and Dead Island mixed together.
Yeah, it's gonna be so.
That's what you get with Dying Light,
Yeah.
and I
think the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer on that is going to be really good too, just like how Dead Islands was pretty good. Too.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, we saw another Dead Island as well too. But the thing with Dying Light is I'm so upset, stoked for this game that it came out when they announced it was in alpha, and I went straight to EB. I'm like, I'm pre-ordering this game right now, and I already had money down months and months ago. Just when the alpha came out, when they showed that, because it just looks freaking awesome. Even if the story's going to suck, it's going to be fun just to run around and kick zombies in the face.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I like how they added the element of the nighttime being really deadly, and the zombies become more. They get kind of super powered at nighttime.
Yeah, it's like Castlevania 2.
Yeah, where they just come to mess your day up at nighttime. Well, mess your night up, I guess.
Yeah, it's like to have a curse.
Yeah. Sorry, thanks Melanie at the side. She said it's twitch.com/Ubisoft. So it's on Ubisoft's stream on Twitch, not on Twitch's own stream. So thanks. I'm going to be watching that later because I want to see some more on that, because I just want to see what potential that game has there. I was going to say something else, and I forget entirely what it was. That was kind of the first day, and what we saw on that. And now Day 3, and I said I'm saving this for last because my predictions before was that Nintendo had to really step up their game this year to be able to pull back from kind of the crappiness that they've been in. And I honestly think, and as a Sony fanboy, it's weird to say this, that Nintendo won E3 this year, hands down. They absolutely killed it, especially with the way they approached it. You know, they did something different, and that was the first step, is they did something different, something that was unique and that worked. And it's not being different for the sake of being different. They did it because they could achieve more, and that's what Nintendo had always been about. You know, innovating and creating something that nobody else was doing because it was cool. They definitely started that just by doing the direct. Now, I saw it. I don't know if all of you guys saw it. I know, Eric, you said you saw it. Shane, did you see the direct?
Yes, I did. I watched the whole thing.
And Charles, did you happen to catch a glimpse of it at all?
I saw the Legend of Zelda reveal.
Okay. So we're going to go through some of the stuff. Obviously, the big one at this one was the new Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers 4, they revealed. Obviously, being the big one, they showed a lot of cool stuff. And I know, as being someone ingrained in the Melee community, we all went into it with skepticism because we weren't super fans of Brawl. I think Brawl was the worst Smash Brothers they've made. And it looks like they really tried to. Sarah at the side says, "Nintendo hype, let's go." They really are trying to pull back their fans and recognize the fact that they had their invitational that night, which, as I said, we had people over, Sarah being one of them, watching the invitational on the big screen. The fact that they acknowledged that there's a community behind this game and had an invitational, you know, it was a little weird and wonky, but it's a start. And the fact that they did that was super awesome, and I think that's one of the things that won E3 for me, hands down, just alone, was that invitational. Yeah, they announced some super awesome IPs, and it actually blew me away. There's one that I am almost more excited about than I am Smash Brothers, and it's called Splatoon.
That game, dude, that game is so good.
I want to get your guys' thoughts, because when I first saw it, I'm like, I thought it was going to be a Super Mario Sunshine remake, because when I saw the goo and the squid flying through it, I expected Super Mario to just shoot his stuff all over. But it turns out to be an ink based first-person shooter that isn't really a shooter kind of thing, or a third-person shooter, sorry. And it looks super unique. They're taking a third-person shooter and making it family-friendly, and of course Nintendo do that, but they did it in a good way. For anybody that hasn't seen it, basically Splatoon is this game. You go around as these little squid people, and you can turn into squids. So the idea is you have ink guns, and you can shoot ink all over the map. And there's 2 teams, and each team has to try to cover the entire map in their color, but you can turn into squids and move faster through your colored ink. And I thought that was unique, and then they started introducing new items, or new weapons, sorry. They had a bazooka, a big paint roller, and that's when the depth started to be added to it. And the fact that you could also go up walls if you go into the ink. And it really started to add depth to the game. And to be honest, I can see it becoming an extremely competitive game in the future as well. That we have esport communities built behind this game because of what it is. And I'm stoked to see the future of this game, but I just even want to play it because it looks freaking phenomenal. Shane, I saw you get a little smirk there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I was not that super impressed by the entire Nintendo showing. The invitational, dude. Okay, that was cool. That was cool. I like that they had they were talking about Smash Brothers a lot, and that was awesome. I argue that although Nintendo's overall showing is probably the strongest this year compared to all the companies, I think their actual press conference, that was the weakest of the lot. Because it was like about 40 minutes or so. Lots of like funny little gags and stuff in there, which was good. But the huge things, like they revealed Pac-Man outside of the broadcast television's like conference.
Yeah. And that was kind of the weirdest thing is that they did their direct, announced their main new IPs, and then they jumped into the Treehouse segment, which was just a live from the show floor kind of broadcast throughout the day.
Yeah, which wasn't streamed, right? Or I mean, which was streamed, but it wasn't like broadcast. The broadcasting that's the thing that confused me because right after the broadcast on TV, let me make this clear. You had the world watching Nintendo for 40 minutes on Spike Television and whatever other networks were airing it around the world.
People on Twitch watching.
Oh yeah, they had Twitch. They still had the streamers, right? But what happened was after that initial, a lot of people logged off. Some people stayed on, but there was a bunch of stuff. For God's sakes, Shigeru Miyamoto didn't announce just one game. He announced 3. And then he showed off 2 of them, and he didn't even bother to talk about Star Fox at all, really. But, oh my God, why did you show that on broadcast? Dude, just Shigeru Miyamoto go, hey guys, I'm making Star Fox again. That's all they needed, but they didn't do that.
Well,
no.
To be honest,
it was him on a couch going, oh boy, you guys want to see me control a giant robot? They
did. Here's the thing: is they did, but I think they did it in a way to try to keep people hyped up and continue watching the streams later on. They wanted to capture the attention of everybody for the entire day, which is hard to do. And again, I watched for quite a bit, even after the direct. But it was I had other things I wanted to see. There's other conferences and stuff going on. But
that's true. Yeah.
They did actually show Star Fox in the direct. At the end, it was Miyamoto saying, "I'm working on something new." And as soon as I saw the screen and lasers, I'm like, "It's Star Fox."
Yeah, but we know that they blurred it out a little bit. But see, this is the problem that I think everyone is kind of avoiding with this, because when I saw this on Twitter, I typed out a bunch of things like I'm not super impressed. Then I got hate mail. What? So really, what this amounts to is that gamers don't get it. All of us, we're gamers. We play video games, okay? That right there is a collection of video games that spans quite a few years. But let me just put this in very easy ways. Yeah, there. Look at all that stuff. Look at all the games it's got. NES, PlayStation, Xbox, Wii U, GameCube, couple GameCubes. The dude's got a whole bunch of consoles down there. But this is the thing that gets me, okay? E3 is to get everyone. It's to tell the press, so the press tells the world. Nintendo is not doing well right now with Wii U sales, okay? We all know that. The only company that's doing worse is Microsoft because nobody apparently wants the Xbox One. They can't even give them away. But with Wii, they have a fighting chance because they're not that far behind compared to Sony right now. This is the problem. They're not trying. I mean, look, they were selling it to us, which is easy. Look, Nintendo goes, we're making a new Mario, and we'll jump at it, okay? We're not stupid. We know what we want. But the rest of the world are dumb and thick as pig shit, and we're not selling them anything, okay? Nintendo has to sell that console and those games to my grandmother, to my mom, to my sister. But they're not. They keep, like, they were on television, dude, on Spike TV. Spike TV airs things like 1,001 Ways to Die and shit like that. And you're telling me you at that time didn't think to, like, sell any of those amazing titles to them? Instead, you showed Splatoon to the Call of Duty audience? Did you think that was gonna work?
You know what? I'm gonna jump in and kind of say I'm almost on the opposite side of things. I think they need to sell to the people like us because they've already sold to the rest of the world. You look at your grandma. She calls a PlayStation a Nintendo. Everything's Nintendo, right?
I completely agree. But she only bought the Wii. She didn't buy the Wii U.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
That's the issue.
So many people that I talk to that are not core gamers have no idea that the Wii U is a separate console from the Wii.
And I think the thing is they realized their mistake. Here, one sec. I think they realized that was their mistake, and the only people that know what the system is aren't buying it, so let's try to sell it to them at least for now to try to remake back what it is. And I have so many people that have been talking to me now saying, I'm buying a Wii U this year.
You're buying a Wii U this year because they want to play...
This is not a Wii accessory. This is a Wii U accessory.
Yeah. Well,
two different things.
It's the actual, like, system thing. This is what gets me with everything that they've done, with everything that they're trying to do. When you watched that press conference, okay, how many times did they actually show the Wii U? That's how bad they were doing it.
Yeah, but I think here's kind of where I'm looking at it from is if say you have a product and you've released it and only 100 out of 1,000 people actually know what it is. Now out of those 100 people, 50 people bought it. Now are you going to try to focus your resources immediately, obviously in the future, but immediately are you going to try to focus your resources to make people find out what it is and have only even half of them maybe buy it? But
no, yes, I would be like, hey, I'm on TV. Guys, take a look. Here's the Wii U. Sony was like, hey, do you guys want a PlayStation TV? Hey, do you guys want a PlayStation 4? And Microsoft was like, look at everything we've got. It's an empty room, but you can buy it for like $300.
I agree that they should have shown more and tried to sell the Wii U itself as well. But I do agree with them that they're trying to bring back the core fans because that's a lot of what they lost and that's a lot of what drives Nintendo. I think this is a first stage for Nintendo to build themselves back up to what they were. And I think this is a first step, and we're not seeing the whole picture yet. And I think we're going to see that in the next bit of time. I think this is a first step of them kind of recognizing their position in the gaming industry, that there are other people, and they need to focus on it. Because before, and I think you've said this before too, is that it's almost like they just thought they were the only people there, and they didn't have to worry about other manufacturers, other developers. It was them in this sea. And I think they're finally recognizing that there are other people, and they need to pull back the core people that may be moving over to these other systems now. And their core fans that are starting to get tired of even themselves. They said, we aren't going to show another Mario game this time. I mean, then they proceeded to show a million Mario offshoots, but
this is the thing. I agree. The problem is when you're on broadcast television, you're trying to sell to a huge audience, and what they were doing was they were focusing in on us. We already bought the Wii U, okay? And then the next thing that they're doing to try and sell us other things are, like, remember, they announced other things outside of the event, like the whole Wii U GameCube controller hookup thing. That's for us. You don't need to broadcast that.
That's so super important, especially for me, a huge selling point for the new Smash Bros.
Yeah. No, it is. But that stuff they aired after because we're the hardcore. We're gonna pay attention to that. That's fine, right?
But I also just want to put in 2 cents real quick that against, I guess, popular consent or whatever everybody else kind of thought. When I mean, I don't know about, Shane, it sounded like you weren't really impressed, but when I saw Splatoon, now this is coming from someone whose favorite video game genre is survival horror. When I saw Splatoon, I was actually like really excited for that game. I'm like, wow, this looks like this is going to be a lot of fun, almost like a Lego, game that you're gonna like. It's not your normal thing, but it's like, man, with a couple of my buddies, it's going to be pretty fun to just fuck around and play this game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's where I think maybe Shane, you might be in a minority. Is that even as I'm a person, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's a different fit. What I'm saying is that I'm a Call of Duty person. I play Call of Duty. That's my go-to competitive game. And I am excited for Splatoon. All my Smash Brothers friends, they're all saying, "Oh, Splatoon, man, that game looks so dope." And I think Splatoon is going to catch. I think they're onto something cool. And those are the games that don't try to be a competitive game. I find turn to be a competitive game. Call of Duty wasn't made to be an esport game in the past. It turned into that, and that's what it is. You look at the only, I think, exception are MOBAs. They're designed to do that, and they work because of what they are. It's just a good formula for it. But other games that have come out, you look at even the first shooters, Quake and that, originally those games weren't designed as competitive, like designed to be esports, but they turn into that very quickly based off of formula works. And I can see from what I've seen from other games that have turned into esport quality games, Splatoon has that potential, and it's cool to see that early on. Nintendo having a game that could end up hitting mainstream, that you'll see people playing at esport events such as MLG tournaments and stuff. So I think that's one of my biggest turn-ons for the game, is that this game has the potential out of most of these, besides Smash, to make it mainstream and pull Nintendo into a serious gamer position, like into the eyes of the gamers. And that's what I liked, is that it looks like they're trying to pull us back.
And I got that. I saw the game and I was interested. I'm not gonna lie. I love the colors that they're doing there. It's not browns and grays. It's like reds and blues, vibrant colors. It looks really interesting. I mean, you turn into a squid. Don't even understand why, but it looks neat. And the gameplay mechanics that they were showing in there were awesome. I liked everything that I saw. However, that being said, we've never seen a first-person shooter from Nintendo work. We've seen it from Rare. We've seen it from a bunch of other companies, or third-person shooter. We've never seen one actually come from Nintendo proper before. So I'm curious to see how this game works. I'm curious to see if there is good online matchmaking services that they're going to provide with this thing, because up until this point, the only really strong online system that they've had is Mario Kart 8, and I've heard people have had a lot of problems with that. So
I'm not a super fan myself of Mario Kart 8.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'll totally give you that, Shane, for sure.
I mean, that's just it. I want it to, look, I'm not anti-Nintendo. I'm not, negative against Nintendo. The only new next-gen console I own, Wii U. The only new portable system I own, 3DS. Those are the only things I own. And then I own all these systems that came before it and all that. And I do want to get a PlayStation 4, and I do want to get an Xbox One, but the Wii U to me is the strongest buy. But that's because I'm a gamer, and there's a lot of really good games on that system. And I find that its library is far stronger than everybody else's. But I don't think Nintendo is positioning them in a space where they will actually be able to sell these things. Because look, Wonderful 101, everyone seemed to like. Nobody bought it. Pikmin 3 was a really neat game. Nobody bought it. That Mario Kart 8, despite the fact that it sold really well in its initial outcast, right now they're saying that it's going to be the worst selling Mario Kart game in the entire franchise. When they were doing online for Mario Kart 8, what did the battle mode look like? It looks like they didn't even care about the battle mode. Those are the kind of worries I have about Nintendo, because while they do smart things for us, they don't do smart things for the world of gaming, the extra people that they need to bring in to buy their console.
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about.
Right. I think the thing, I think what they're trying to do is make the best out of a bad situation. Their marketing for the Wii U was absolutely atrocious and terrible, and that's what got them into this position in the first place, is the fact that they didn't market this as in, it didn't look like a new system. It just looked like a Wii with an attachment called the U, right?
Yeah.
And I think what they're trying to do is sell to at least the people that know what it is, and that's the gamers. We know what it is, and we know that it's a separate system. Now, if they can sell to us and get us moving systems at the stores, you go to the store and you see someone buying it, you can say, what is that? You know, you're going to see it now. It's not just on a shelf that you're passing by. You're going to see someone purchasing this. So if you can see people buying it, if they can get people moving units, I think that's going to help start to push it out into the mainstream. You know, a gamer kid now bought a Wii U. The family comes over, or he goes to their place, or whatever. They say, "What's that?" It's a Wii U. Oh, what is that? Is that just a tablet for the Wii? No, it's a separate gaming system with new games. And then it kind of goes from there. You know, it's word of mouth from there on. I think they're just trying to make the gamers advertise it themselves because they did such a crappy job of it in the first place. So this is their next tactic, is to make us move the units because they know they couldn't do it.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. I just want Nintendo to kind of pick up the slack for us a little bit. How about that? I just want them to be like, hey, maybe we can sell it to a couple of extra people. I mean, I'm as like a fan of Nintendo, I'm a little nervous because I remember what it's like to have liked Sega once upon a time and what they did with the Dreamcast. And I'm telling you, every argument that people are making for Nintendo and being pro-Nintendo, the exact same things are made for the Dreamcast. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember when everyone was like, oh man, Shenmue 2 is going to come out and it's going to blow up. Did you hear that they just released a game where you literally get to talk to some kind of fish for real and like it will talk back to you? There were things they were doing with the Dreamcast that were revolutionary, that were interesting. I remember a group of friends coming over to my house and we played Quake 3 with a mouse and keyboard setup on my Dreamcast through the modem online with other people, and it worked. Like, it actually worked. Mm-hmm. They did great things with the Dreamcast. Nintendo is doing fantastic things with the Wii U, but just like the Wii U, they're not selling it properly because the Dreamcast was not sold. And what they did with the Dreamcast was like, hey guys, and remember, the Dreamcast was in a far worse state than Nintendo because EA, I guess they do sponsor Nintendo to some degree, but they didn't do that with the Dreamcast. Dreamcast had like EA support totally pulled, and Sega was like, well, we don't have sports games, so we're going to have to make our own. And they did. And they were like better than what EA was producing, and everyone was shocked. And still, even with that, nobody bought it. And that's one of the things that the Wii U has to struggle with, because the Wii U has some of the best games out there for any platform, and still nobody's buying it. It's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Melody just wants to kind of interrupt. There's kind of their own conversation going on at the side here. Nintendo is the vintage corporation within all the new ones. They'll always have trouble getting through to the next gen of gamers. Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, they existed since way before Master Chief, and it's kind of a curse for them for some reason. So she's just saying, you know, it's always going to be tough for them to hit this new generation.
Well, I mean, I think they set their standards to, like, you know, like Mario Kart, like, why isn't it selling as good as Mario Kart 64? And, like, you know, like they look back at that and they try to compare it to the, you know, what they're putting out today when they don't, you know, it's like, how could you be so blind to not realize that, like, look at your competition now. It's so much more diversified. There's so many more options for people, you know, with PC game. I mean, PC gaming today is nothing like what it was in the Nintendo 64 was out.
It's very true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Christ, like they lost, you know, people diversify. They go in different routes. So, like, yeah, when I was a kid, when I was 13 years old and GoldenEye came out and Mario Kart came out, every one of my friends had a Nintendo 64. We all had Mario Kart. We played the shit out of that game for years. You know, even today, it's still something that I go back and I would rather play Mario Kart on the 64 than I would on the Wii. You know?
No, I think, and that's what they're realizing is that their initial sales come from the core gamers, and that's what they've lost. They've casualized the game, and that's why MK8 isn't as good as it used to be. And I keep saying the last good Mario Kart was Mario Kart DS. That was the last iteration before they casualized the crap out of the series and made it try to make it accessible to everyone. And that, I think, is almost their downfall, is if Nintendo games are going to sell because they look like kid games. It doesn't matter if they're hard or not, they're going to sell, and that's how they did in the past. Those games sold, even if they were hard. And Mario Kart 64 is hard as crap. Rainbow Road, man, that shit's great.
I still have fucking nightmares about Rainbow Road.
Yeah, that thing's hard. Now you look at all the Rainbow Roads, they have railings on the side, right? Like
Why would you put railings on the side of Rainbow Road?
And that's the thing, is like they casualized it to make it so it's easy for everyone, but they lose the people that wanted that challenge and that wanted to be able to separate themselves from the noobs. Like if I'm playing a Mario Kart game, I want to be able to pull ahead and lap people, but I can't do that because it's rubber banded crap. No matter how far I try to go ahead, their cars speed up.
You know what? Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was just saying that their games have all kind of done that casualization kind of thing, and I think they're starting to recognize that there are other manufacturers out there. Sony and Microsoft are out there making systems that appeal to that core demographic, and those people are moving over to that.
Now, what Mulaney said is actually quite right. When she says that Nintendo's a vintage corporation, it just means that they're a much older corporation. This is the funny thing, though, because even Microsoft is having issues selling to people right now because their console is just batshit expensive. Now, cutting out the Kinect totally brings down the price $100, and that's a great place to be, but they're still having issues selling games to people. So what's Microsoft doing? They're releasing, just like you have up there, they have no way of comparing against a Master Chief of this generation. Well, Master Chief has the Master Chief Collection that's coming out for the Xbox One, which is Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the multiplayer games together, 1080p, 60 frames per second. They're going to put it all on one disc. Microsoft is trying their best to show everybody that the Xbox One is going to be a powerhouse system. One game, for what I imagine is going to be like $60 or $70, is going to have all Halo games, all the Halo games, the ones that everyone really likes more than any of the other ones, on one disc, all with all the multiplayer, with all the expansion packs, with all the modes, everything, one disc. That is a smart, super smart move. Why can't Nintendo do that right now? They did it with Wind Waker, and they could do it with Mario Galaxy. I mean, look how beautiful Mario Galaxy looks on the Wii. Can't they release that on the Wii U? Instead, what they're doing is showing off a bunch of really cool ideas and concepts, but they need to get some of those classic gamers back. There were a bunch of games that Nintendo had produced for the GameCube that people didn't play because nobody really bought a GameCube. So why not bring some of those vintage titles back again? Because what they ended up doing was they sold them on the Wii. I remember they actually had Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 were done again for the Wii, and not that many people bought them. They're very hard to find in stores, too.
Yeah.
I think what their problem is currently is that they make these great games, they just really don't have a way to sell them or bundle them in a sales marketing platform, like a tactic for people to go back and want to play them. Why not release Super Mario 64 in 1080p on your system?
Yeah,
I know everyone can do it.
I think that's their thing, is they're like, oh, we're Nintendo, we need to keep innovating. So they bring out things like Toad's Adventure, whatever it's called, where it's still in the Mario universe, but it's a different character. It's Toad's Adventure, right? And with new mechanics and new ideas behind the game. So I think that's Nintendo's remake kind of thing. But I would love to see Galaxy come to the Wii U. That would be super nice. But I get what you're saying. Do these remakes. It's working for. I think Microsoft had to do it though.
They have to. They don't have a choice.
I think they had. Yeah, it was just kind of a.
Just in case people don't know where Microsoft is. Let's say this is Sony with sales. This is Nintendo, and then Microsoft is kind of off to the corner. Like they're not doing well. If they're on track to sell less units than the Wii U did at the same point in time, and if they do that, they're going to sell way worse than what the Wii U's at. And the Wii U is not doing terrible. It's like 6 million, and I think the PlayStation 4 is at 8 or 9 or something.
Yeah.
So it's not like a huge gap, but keep in mind, the PlayStation 4 was out there for a fraction of the time compared to the Wii U. The Wii U had like a year head start, and it doesn't seem to be gaining sales. And I know everyone's been talking about Mario Kart 8 boosting sales and helping it out and stuff, and that's great. You need a lot more than one game to boost sales. You got to keep stuff coming out. You got to keep people interested. And as it stands right now, I don't think they're really doing a good job at continuing the momentum. And it's not their faults because they're trying super hard. But, you know, look at all the third-party developers that are making games on the Wii U right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's nothing at this point. Well, again, that's why it surprised me. Even Ubisoft, a company that is always in to support new technology, new things like that, had nothing for Nintendo systems this year.
Well, right. They're going to be releasing Watch Dogs, right? Like a little bit down the line. But I think one of the reasons why and you know what? I don't blame. I know a lot of people that are adamant fans of Nintendo are upset at Ubisoft for not releasing things, but you have to look at it the way that Ubisoft would release it. If I was the CEO for Ubisoft, I would make sure that our company was releasing no products for the Wii U. The reason being, okay, is that their system does not sell third-party games. If I spend lots and lots of time developing a game, making a game, and then putting in production for marketing and stuff, and Nintendo doesn't help in any regard to push it forward, then I'm not going to help that company. I'm not going to release a product on there because it's not going to sell well. And that happened, that exact same thing happened with the Wii. There are like Dance Central games and stuff like that. Those sold well on, or not Dance Central, Let's Dance or whatever it is. Yeah. Those games sold well on the Wii, and that's why they're always happy to sell those. And I think the next dancing game is actually coming out to the Wii U, but they don't want to announce anything else because it's like, hey guys, it's just not going to work. You want a key idea of where sales go, take a look at Grand Theft Auto 5, okay? Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, now PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It kind of missed Nintendo completely. And it's not like Nintendo has a non-working relationship with, Rockstar, because they do. Do you guys remember Chinatown Wars? Yeah, that game that nobody bought on the DS. Rockstar was like scared, like, oh my god, we released a Grand Theft Auto that nobody bought. How could this happen? That's why they got scared. That's why they haven't come back, because Nintendo doesn't support them further. So that's the kind of stuff that Nintendo kind of has to figure out a way to make it work. Nintendo needs to celebrate third-party developers and their own games, but they're very focused on their own stuff first, and they just happen to be there for other people, and that's what's scaring people a lot.
Right. You hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you look at, and it's not like you can use the excuse that you're a manufacturer and a developer at the same time, because Sony does that. Sony is a manufacturer and a developer at the same time, even Microsoft Studios. It's just, I think the difference is that Nintendo focuses way too much time on developing their own new IPs, because they're like, oh, we need to support the system or else no one else will. But it's kind of, ironic that when they do that, they end up not supporting the other people that they want to support the system. Okay. Exactly what you said, right? But
this was mentioned once on here before, but why, like, Nintendo really doesn't have a lot of third-party companies out there developing games for them exclusively. Bayonetta 2 is a good example of that's a good example of Nintendo trying, but a dumb idea. I mean, okay, I'm not a fan of Bayonetta. I don't care. Okay, everyone's got their opinion.
Honestly, I played them. I thought it was pretty fun. I played the first one.
It's true. People like the game, and that is totally cool. I have nothing. If you like Bayonetta, great, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I like games that people hate as well. E.T., Atari 2600, one of my favorite Atari games, believe it or not. Still, there are a bunch of games out there that people don't like. Bayonetta is one of those games that didn't sell well. So Nintendo was like, we need street cred. Folks, we're going to buy Bayonetta, the franchise, and we're going to put it on our system. Why? Why? Nobody bought the first one. And then, on top of that, as an added incentive, if you buy Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U, it actually comes with the original Bayonetta on the disc. That's brilliant. Like, that's a great marketing platform.
That's smart, yeah.
Nobody bought it, so don't even bother to do that. You want to buy something that nobody played but is an actual good game? How about, I don't know, anything else? There's like 1,000 games out there. There's stuff on the GameCube. Look, they produced Bayonetta 2. I can't stress this enough. They paid Platinum Games to make Bayonetta 2 exclusively for their system. Could you not have done that with any of the other franchises you had? Why not a Geist 2? That had some interesting ideas. Not a lot of people liked it. Why not bring that back? Why not bring something back that's so unique to your system that no one can go against it? Hey, you got that Metroid franchise just sitting somewhere. Maybe that. Star Fox is really cool. How about you show off more of that and less blurry gameplay footage? Or hell, I have a whole bunch of GameCube games over here that I could just list off. How about F-Zero? How about Wave Race? How about Chibi Robo? How about fucking Rampage? Oh my god, I used to love Rampage. Why not bring that back? Oh, I don't know. Why not let's do GoldenEye again or something?
Doesn't Microsoft have Rampage now?
I love Rampage. This is one of my favorite games.
It's Acclaim sold the rights to Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft owns Rampage.
Oh,
now.
Do they? Oh, well,
Yeah.
Okay, that one they've got an excuse for. But then, like, why not just bring back some other stuff like that? Why do they have to continually push just in the wrong direction? Because I mean, look, there's a lot of games out there that deserve to be brought back. Do you know how hard it is to find Metal Gear Solid Twin Snake on GameCube? Like, it's a very difficult game to find, and it's usually the price of the game is actually going up and up and up as time goes on. Why not re-release that on the Wii U?
Yeah.
You know, like, why not do something like that where people will go back and play these older games? If you're so hell-bent on buying old franchises that nobody cares about, why not go back and buy something that would be really interesting to come see coming back? I mean, RC Pro-Am.
Yeah.
And whatever. Something like that. There's so many different games out there that could be brought back and brought into a new world that people would just love to play again. But I really don't feel like Nintendo cares about that. They bought Bayonetta because, in my mind, they didn't understand what Bayonetta was. They just saw it as this game that has some kind of appeal to some market, so they just bought it thinking, well, this is going to get the hardcore guys for us. Well, no. Hey, Destiny. Why not that on the Wii U? Seriously, think about it. Why not that on the Wii U? It's not like Bungie's owned by Microsoft anymore. Destiny is on everything, again, but not the Wii U. Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto on everything, but not the Wii U. And it can actually work on the Wii U. I don't understand why this stuff keeps happening to Nintendo. It's like they don't have any knowledge or interest in how modern gaming works. And that's super scary. If you're a fan...
Part of the issue is the fact that the company is run by these older guys that are... It's the Japanese culture, you know. It's their way. They don't. It doesn't change. Even look at the way the company's structured. The people that are with that company stay with that company. The heads don't leave. Like it's the same head until they die, and then someone will move up. You know, you look at other North American companies, whereas they hire and fire CEOs all the time, right? It's just I think the same idea is that they're not going to change. Actually, Melanie. Says something aside too that says Nintendo do need to keep the old recipes with their games. If they try to change everything too much, they're going to lose old gamers like us that have played Ocarina of Time, for example, and they will get through. And will they get through to the next gen gamers? And maybe Nintendo's controllers are part of that downfall. Yes, a first something that stands out, but personally I prefer a good old controller. But Nintendo sticks to their old formulas because that's just the way they are. I don't know if it's necessarily because, it's a formula that works. I think it's because it's just the way the company is. It's that Japanese culture, right? They stick to something. You look at even look at like stuff like Final Fantasy. It's kind of, somewhat lately at least, kind of stuck to the same thing, right? It's just that culture, I think.
It's very strange to me that they hold on to that stuff because there are several Americans in the company now. There just are. I think there are, like, you have this very, I don't even know if it's a cultural divide, but just the way that they run things seems to be kind of backwards some days because it doesn't make sense. If you really want to have a larger impact on the market, I'm not one of those guys that goes, oh, Nintendo should go third party. I don't believe that's smart. I actually don't think Nintendo releasing games on other platforms is a smart idea. What they should be doing is just making sure that their consoles sell. Or if they're going to design something, because remember, when Nintendo designed games or designed consoles, one of the key factors to why their consoles used to do so well was based off of the principles of the guy that made the Game Boy. take simple concepts, simple ideas, and make them work. If you put really expensive technology into something like the Kinect, people won't buy it. You need to make sure that you're doing something that's affordable, easy to produce, and is profitable. And for whatever reason, Nintendo's sort of lost that because, look, the Wii U is a really neat concept. Like it's super techy, it's super sci-fi. It's a controller. Like I mean seriously, just think about this. It's a controller with a screen on it that's wirelessly transmitting the actual image of the game to your controller.
I get the concept on paper sounds nice, but in practice it doesn't work at all. I can't. Here's the thing: you know what I loved about one of the good things that helps skill in games is having a mini map. Mario Kart. There's no mini map on screen anymore. It's on your tablet. I can't look up and down and still try to figure out what's going on. On paper it sounds great, but in concept or in practice, it doesn't work.
And you know what? Mulaney is absolutely correct about this too, with the Nintendo controllers being a part of their downfall, because yes, that controller is the #1 problem. Because if I was the CEO of Nintendo, and a couple years back they were like, Shane, what should we do? We want to release a new console, we want to release a new handheld. Well, I would have been like, I'm Nintendo. I make the best fucking video game portable systems that exist. Why not turn the 3DS into the controller for the Wii U? Like, did no one think about that at Nintendo? Did not one person just like?
Well, that's why I like their Pro controllers, because they're a lot more comfortable, and they're designed after our traditional controller. You know what we're used to seeing from PlayStation or Microsoft, something like that, the traditional controller. And the Pro controllers kind of follow that form factor, but still keep the nostalgic factor of what their controllers were like on the NES and SNES.
Well, think of it like this, right? So the Wii U controller, all right, it has like a limited range. I can't go upstairs with mine because apparently when they built my house, they built it with lead or something. So when I go upstairs, the connection just drops. The thing is, with the Wii U, the way that they were designing everything, could you imagine if the 3DS was designed foremost as a good controlling portable console with 2 thumbsticks, all the stuff that they threw into it initially, and then put that on the Wii U? Just think of it like this. You go out and buy the Wii U, and the price of this extra console and everything was included with the 3DS, okay? So you have the 3DS as your controller. Then when you're done playing at home, you take the 3DS to go somewhere else, and you play somewhere else with the 3DS. And then you come back home, and then you're still playing your game. And think about that. Think about all the interactivity they could be doing with that. When you're selling a game, you're selling one copy of the game that's portable on both the systems. If I buy Pokemon, like think about this. Everybody's wanted a full-screen home play Pokemon for years, and Nintendo just doesn't want to do it. So why not have the new Pokemon games on a 3DS that wirelessly transmits to the Wii U and plays on your big screen? The fact that Nintendo can't do that, and they're the only company, except for Sony, because Sony's actually starting to catch up to them seriously hard, for whatever reason, the Nintendo should have been doing these things for the 3DS and the Wii U from day one, and they refused to do it, and I don't understand why. Imagine how much more successful the 3DS and the Wii U would be together if they were actually formed as one cohesive bundle, one unit. I mean, seriously, Sony is selling packages of the PlayStation 4 and Vita bundled together because they know what they're going to do in the future. They're going to do what Nintendo refuses to do. And when when Sony gets it right, and when they're actually rolling and they're making this thing work, Nintendo is going to scream bloody murder because they're not going to be able to survive. If a company can actually outdo Nintendo on their own platform and own games, I mean, I remember when the PlayStation PlayStation Portable came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's neat, but it's no 3DS, or sorry, it's no DS, it's no Nintendo product." Yeah, but it sold half as well as the DS. That's crazy because the DS had really high numbers. No other comparable platform got that close before, and the fact that Sony is getting so close to them. That's a thing, man. They're not.
Especially in this day and age, too, with mobile gaming in the state that it is, it's entirely changed. You know, the game has changed, and that's what's always been a plus factor for me with Sony is their foresight has always been phenomenal. They're always looking ahead, and even look at the PS3 and how they they implemented the PlayStation Move. They took what another system had and just put it into a system that they already had. Right? Their foresight to be able to adapt to the situations and to you look at the camera. They were doing that camera gaming for a while before Kinect came out on PS2. But the fact that it's adaptable and they have that now, like it's their foresight's been really well. They've been able to anticipate and adapt to the industry very well, and that's always been something that I've adored about Sony there.
Yeah, it's honestly like it's crazy because everybody always thinks that Sony rips off ideas from people, but the truth is, when Sony was doing a lot of these concepts, they were doing them super early and they didn't always work out, and they didn't focus on them. The iToy, I'm using an iToy right now to talk to everybody. By the way, this is my actual iToy.
As I am, I'm using an iToy.
You know what I mean? Like they created these devices and then they just didn't they didn't think it worked too well with the PS2, but the ideas were there, the concepts were there. Then when Microsoft came up a couple of years later going, we got the Kinect, Sony was like, I don't think that's going to work. And they were right. But they tried something different. Sure, the Move doesn't really work. I mean, it's not like the Move works. The Move
works
is the most accurate.
Way better than the Wii did, yeah.
The Move is the most accurate thing that anyone had created for motion controls. But the overarching problem, the problem that nobody really wanted to focus on was that motion controls suck, and those are not fun. That was the problem, and they never focused on that. I mean, look at all the games that are being designed for the Wii U. Hardly any of them actually use the motion controls in the controller because they don't like it. People don't like motion controls like that. It was a novelty with the initial Wii, and with the Wii U, they had to recreate that kind of novelty for those initial buyers, but they didn't. And
I think initially that's what Nintendo's problem was. Is they're like, guys, we need to innovate. We need to make something that's just as crazy as the Wii. What do we do? And they kind of got stuck. I think they hit a roadblock, and they didn't think too far ahead. They thought in the now.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think they tried to figure out something. They tried to make something better than the console they already had, but they just didn't. And it sucks too because just the Wii U itself, as it stands, if it was just using the Pro Controller, I honestly think that system would have sold way better than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of key things that Nintendo needs to work on. I think these are the first steps to doing that and to moving forward. So we'll see again what they do in the next bit of time. But I honestly think that they're making good steps forward. Some good strides forward. And just to finish off here, we gotta cover their games too. We haven't even got to those yet. But Melanie just says maybe Nintendo needs to survey more all-gen gamers. Do they do that? Could help to know what is not working. That's the thing is, I think before they flat out said at one point, we don't listen to our fans, and I think they're changing that now, which is good to see. Yeah, so let's just kind of go over now that we've just told Nintendo what they should and shouldn't be doing. So I hope they were watching and listened to us. Let's show. It looks like we lost Eric there. I don't know if he's going to come back, but let's just go over some of the games that they showed. We had Yoshi's Woolly World is one of the things Nintendo showed during their Direct, which I thought was cringily introduced to us by those two guys in the yarn shop. That was really awkward.
The game looks beautiful, though. It really does.
It artistically looks phenomenal. It kind of takes the Little Big Planet world and amps it up in saturation. It looks great, but yeah, awkwardly introduced. Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, that was the Toad game I was talking about. Looks kind of interesting. I want to see more from it. I'm actually kind of intrigued by it. And then we have one that I'm actually kind of interested in. I'm not usually a fan of Zelda, but we got the new glimpse at it. Open world. We haven't seen too much. It was just like a 5-minute trailer on what happens. But we got our resident Zelda fanatic over at the side here, Charles. I don't know what your thoughts were on seeing this new Zelda.
I'm really excited for it. As soon as I heard about it, because I work during when E3 is happening, so I occasionally will look at my phone and see, a new update or something like that. But this Legend of Zelda thing came out, and I actually took a look at that, did a quick Google search, found a GameSpot thread from like 3 years ago that basically had all of this information in it, and they thought it was like a late April Fool's Day prank or something like that. And this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and now apparently it's officially revealed. So.
Oh crap.
Yeah, apparently this has been like hidden, or like rumors or whispers have been talked about it for years, but now that they've revealed it, and it is like you said, it's open. It's supposed to be open world. It's supposed to be large regions, and I heard from the thread that I read. I don't know if it has anything to do with the actual reveal, but race politics and stuff like that, apparently that's supposed to be a thing too. But again, that was from a thread 3 years ago. I haven't seen the actual full reveal trailer yet, but the art from the reveal trailer looks great. I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I'm really excited to see if the Wii U is capable of producing gameplay of that pre-rendered quality.
Well, you even look at just the picture that they initially showed, where he turns around. I can't even say his name, Aja or Numa or whatever. He turns around and he points. He says, "Even those mountains in the background you can go to," and there's some good distance to it. I mean, I don't know how far this way to the boundary of the camera is, so maybe that's just a small area, but.
That wasn't pre-rendered, by the way. That was actual in-game.
That was in-game.
The sequence?
Yeah, that entire sequence was done in-engine. That's,
oh wow!
That's what I was really interested in, because I mean, it looks. I really like.
I thought that was pre-rendered. I'm actually impressed.
That's in-engine. I was so impressed by that, because I remember how everyone bitched and moaned when Wind Waker came out. They didn't like the
cell shaded art,
the cell shading effect, and they were just like, okay, here's cell shading again, and they did it, and it looks even better than it did last time. So I'm super impressed by that. I mean, I don't even really want to call it cell shaded, but it's sort of got that influence.
It's like a pastel cell shading in it.
I would honestly not be surprised if this was the sequel to Wind Waker, like if they call it Wind Waker 2 or something like that. Because think about it, guys. Why would they re-release Wind Waker on the Wii U all of a sudden?
It's true when they could have done it. Well, I guess there was a lot of issues with it, and they fixed a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, but still, there's...
Hey, conspiracy theories sometimes become true, so you could be right.
Haven't heard anyone say it before, but I mean, he's wearing a lot of similarly themed clothing to what you see in the original Wind Waker game. So, I mean, if that is even Link, I had a hypothesis it might not be Link. I wasn't saying...
Reddit is saying that might be Zelda because of the different handed grip on the bow.
Oh, there you go. See, I looked at it and it looked... I didn't think the character looked feminine. I just thought that the character didn't look like Link completely. I thought there was like a couple of variations there. Could be Link's kid, could be Link's dad in like an earlier time or something, or his sister even. I really don't care.
I don't care if it could be either. It could be a young male or a young female.
Yeah, I mean it's like the whatever Link is. I forget. He's not a pixie. He's an elf. I think it was an elf.
No, he's Link is what is it?
Wood Sprite.
It's not. He's not Kokori.
Something. Anyway, I know he's not human. That's all.
He's one of the Hylian or whatever it is.
Yeah. And they have very effeminate qualities, so it's just whatever.
Yeah. So let the conspiracy theories begin. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I am for once kind of intrigued for a Zelda game, to be honest. Up next, we obviously have Pokemon Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire, which I know a lot of people are hyped about. I'm kind of over the Pokemon games at this point until they release
too many Pokemon releases lately.
Until they release a open world RPG Pokemon game, I'm not really intrigued.
That's the natural progression. Like that's where Pokemon should go from there. But if they go there, then that's the last place they can.
Yeah. So I just exactly once they hit that plateau, that's that's the plateau. Like it's just once it hits that, it's done. But I hope to see that one day in my lifetime. Next up, we have Bayonetta 2. Of course, we talked about that. And then we have Hyrule Warriors, which I know some people are kind of sketchy about. If you're a Dynasty Warrior fan, then obviously you're going to want to pick this game up. It looks like it should be fun. I remember seeing them during the Treehouse presentation. They had some grandma playing it, and she was kicking some butt with that. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse looks pretty interesting. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I've never been into that, but I know some people are excited about that. And this one's kind of interesting. We have Mario Maker. It's an NES Mario level generator, and then you can turn the levels into New Super Mario Bros. U. So they kind of look retro style or new style. But it's did you guys see that at all?
No.
No. It's basically you just use the Wii U tablet to make Mario levels, and you can make super crazy difficult levels or easy ones, whatever you want. But it looks interesting. I haven't checked yet if it's going to be an actual like free software or if it's going to be. Oh, here it is. So Nintendo has found a way to monetize their creativity. So apparently it's going to be you're going to have to purchase the software, but and then you can share your levels with your friends and that. So I think that's interesting that you can do that. Then we have Splatoon, of course. I know a lot of people are super stoked about. We talked about that earlier. Next up, Fantasy Life. What else do we have? Mario Party 10 as well. It was after that they just kind of casually mentioned it in the post-show summary that Mario Party 10 is on its way. And it's going to have amiibos. That's the other thing we didn't talk about are amiibos. Those are the little figurines that you're going to have NFC connectivity to the Wii U tablet that you'll be able to put characters into different games, such as be it Mario Kart, be it Smash Brothers, be it any other games that they have coming out. So I think that's actually a new, cool, interesting take on DLC, to be honest. I think as a pack rat like myself, it may actually be bad, because I'm now going to have a million amiibos just kind of hanging around my place. But for other people that like to collect, I think it's going to be cool, because now not only do you get your DLC character, you have an actual figurine for it, which can be a cool keepsake, to display on your shelf for when your friends come over. So I think it's an interesting, they're kind of taking a page out of Skylanders and Disney Infinity's book for it. But I think it's a good idea for the DLC, especially since they have the NFC pad in the Wii U tablet. So I think that's a cool way to introduce new characters to games such as Smash Brothers. But those are some of the big ones that Nintendo announced over the course of their Direct there. Now, I don't know if there's anything else that you guys had. Oh, sorry, Sarah says something about the Mario Maker at the side. Cool thing about Mario Maker, they totally showed some kind of fly swatter action reminiscent of Mario Paint. Yeah, so it's kind of a shout out to Mario Paint, which is a cool program. I've seen a lot of some crazy stuff made in Mario Paint there. So I think they introduced a lot of cool stuff in their thing as well too. I just thought it was funny that they said Mario doesn't have any games, but then they proceeded to mention like half the games were Mario spin-offs. So I thought that was kind of funny. But Sarah has one more thing. Guys, there's no such thing as too much Pokemon. They have the Pokebank now, which is why it's extra exciting that they're redoing another old gen. I don't know. If they redo Blue, I think I'll pick it up. Red and Blue, like the original Red and Blue. I'll pick those up if they could redo those, because those were my favorite of all time. Well, I guess that's what Sapphire and that are, right? But the remakes.
No, Sapphire and Ruby.
Oh, Ruby and Sapphire. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are third gen.
Sorry, it's Leaf Green in that they did all the old ones, right?
Yeah, it was Leaf Green and Fire Red were their first gen remake.
Yeah, I still think Blue was the most ultimate Pokemon game ever made. Hands down. Hands down. Yeah, so that's kind of I think our first impressions. If there's anything else you guys had for the viewers, this was just our first impressions. There's obviously still a crap ton more trailers out there that we haven't even seen yet. Still more going on right now as we speak, and more going on tomorrow. So we're going to come back next week at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. EDT. So don't miss out on that. Go to YouTube.com/GamersRoundtable show to catch up on everything. We're also on iTunes if you search Gamers Roundtable, so you can find us on there as well. I got to keep that updated. And just on Google Plus, make sure you circle and +1 us so that you don't miss out on any of the future shows that we have. I'll circle you back so you get the invites. But feel free to always join in. We love you guys joining in at the side there in the Q&A. It's super fun to have you guys join in. But next week we're going to go in depth with everything that we saw this week. I'm going to be taking notes as I watch trailers for the remainder of this week. So I just want to say thanks to these guys for coming out too. Thanks, Shane, for coming out. Are we going to see you next week? You going to be able to drop by?
I'll see you where I am, but I'm constantly doing work and just running around doing more videos. So
understandable. Well, it was a pleasure and a treat to have you in here today. It's been a while. We missed you. So thanks for coming out and joining us this week. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, you can follow Shane on Twitter at ReResTV. If you go to rerez.net, you'll find all of his YouTube videos and stuff. He makes some pretty informative and funny stuff over there. So make sure you check him out. I like his voices. You got some sweet voices behind you. You need to do some more cooking ones, man.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna try and get a couple more of those out. Yeah.
I'd love to see that, and I would love to again. I've been out of YouTube for a while, but I'd love to be able to do something with you if you ever have the time. I think that'd be super sweet.
Absolutely.
Work something out. That'd be super fun. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully we'll see you again next week if you can. And Charles, thanks once again for always stopping by. The old faithful Charles.
Even when I don't have any idea what's going on, I'm still
sorry. At the side, Annie actually said, "How come the guy in the corner that looks kind of like Adam never talks?" And it was because he's been busy this week and he didn't have time to really watch much of what went on. But he's going to have to do his research for next week because we anticipate him talking next week and to see his thoughts.
The reason why I watched because it was my job to be watching. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so thanks again. Thanks, Charles, for coming out. You can, underneath his name there, you can see his Twitter is @cstovetop. Make sure you follow him on there. And if you want to watch him game around, go to twitch.tv/cstove. And myself, if you want to follow me on Twitter, that way you can find out about these, you can go to @LeafX. That's my Twitter. That's also my Facebook. That's also part of my YouTube. I just search LeafX on Google and you'll find me everywhere. It's not hard to do. And just to clean up some of the stuff at the side before we say goodbye, Melanie said, guys, I think Annie is about to ask one of you guys to do a striptease or something. That happens in the after show, so stay tuned.
I don't think I have it in me to do an after show today.
No, that's the secret after show, rated XXX.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. No, thanks, guys, for coming out and giving us your thoughts. And join us next week again, 7 p.m. EDT. We'll have this up, same spot, same time, and we'll talk more in depth about stuff. It's obviously still much we didn't have time.
And I see a couple questions asking for our favorite games. We'll get into that next week too.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was trying to be selective because I know it's been 2 hours already. Two and a half almost hours, and this was just our first impressions. So there's lots more to come. We don't want to bore you guys too much in one session, so we'll have it next time, and we'll talk about those. So make sure you bring your questions next time, and we'll talk about those then. But thanks for coming out, guys, and we'll see you next week. And as always, keep gaming hard.